really relate this whole topic to the sustainability aspect? How do we entirely make this whole mission really happen in terms of really creating value out of that? One of the major initiatives that Government of India has taken is basically the Rule 2016, which is mentioning a major changes in the past regime. If you go back to 2014, peak 2014, there was nothing like this for the recyclable industry. The recyclable industry was facing a huge crisis in terms of how do you really convert a most man-made thing into a certain wealth. How do you convert that? It was a major challenge. One of the things that has come in is this rule, which briefly I can tell you, but you can go into the site. What this rule has done, it is again adopted a very 360-degree approach to conversion or recycling of waste matter. This is a major problem. You see, in a hotel, for example, a hotel will have over 500 kilos of waste, which they will not know exactly what to do about. A hospital will have more than over 1 ton of waste, which they will not know exactly what to do about. So what do you do exactly with this waste? How do you exactly convert that waste into a resource and make it more sustainable? Now, if you look at the whole concept, if you take a city, because I'm talking slightly, which is a divergent topic, but it is very relevant to the extractive industry too. If you take a city like Allahabad, for example, now Allahabad will have a total waste of around 700 tons, which has to be collected every day by more than 400 people and more than 1,000 labor. Each house, that is almost 2,75,000 households, has to give that waste to the guy. That ultimately has to be taken to a point. Then that point, from a particular point which is called a transfer station or the Rauga, you take that waste to the plant. And what do you do after that? Either you throw it and you create a landfill. And if you create a landfill, what happens? You create huge amount of space across the horizon. How much space you're creating? In the past 20 years, we have created almost space of that landfill is almost how much? 2 cities like Bangalore. 2 cities or like Bangalore can be actually accumulated in a landfill. Now that is a very, very, very big problem today. You saw in Gazipur, we had a death of about 5 or 6 labor. What did happen? That's a huge landfill. And that landfill is a pure man-made landfill, totally left alone, and it keeps accumulating year by year, year by year, year by year. 2002 was the last point where it should have been completely, covered. But what did happen? Now almost 16 years have passed, still that landfill keeps going on filling up. What will happen then to sustainability? Tell me. If that landfill is sitting on a volcano actually, believe me, you're sitting on methane, propane, butane, sitting on all types of gas. It's all gas. And it's like a bomb, actual bomb, believe me. It's a human bomb. A landfill is a human bomb, I call it. Because you are actually having every moment a gas coming out of it. Every moment. I just mentioned 3. There are almost 17 types of gas which comes out of a landfill. This is what I was talking about, undivine, undemonic. This is the type of thing which I was talking about, which is a huge problem for sustainability. Now, what has happened is various corporates like Coal India NTPC, and these companies have taken up these issues, including ILFS, trying to cover that major part of, which is a major part of waste, which needs to be converted so that it can be used as a proper resource. And what do you do? How do you convert that? You convert it through a process called biomethanization, which is a process where you convert a old waste into a substance of gold, or substance like gas, which can be again reused. That is called biomethanization. This whole conversion happens through a process. And it can actually, there are companies who are now helping this whole thing, like Coal India and NTPC. They are trying to actually put in their CSR muscles into this, a little bit of CSR muscles. But if really this problem has to be solved, a lot of CSR muscle has to be actually coming in. Because each city will have this type of problem, which will be a problem which, unless we do biomining in that, we will not be able to actually come to a point where we can really convert that into a resource or even help the human settlement. Because ultimately, if the methane gas starts leaking in terms of a really solid leak, a whole mass of settlement, maybe if you had Ghazipur, then the whole area, that whole catchment area can be just, they can just come off. They can just come off with no time. So I was just trying to bring in this part of subject matter, and so I will give you I think I'm taking too much time, it seems. Yeah? Okay. The last part of it is basically how do we resolve this problem, and how do we really take it into a point where it can, so the government involvement has to be heavy. It has to be actually bringing more funds into it, the financial mechanism to actually bring out this whole biomanagement stuff has to be really good. Thanks a lot for your listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Jha. In fact, we can have a whole day seminar on waste management. It is such a comprehensive area, but you have definitely touched on certain salient aspects. So now we'll throw the floor for questions, and in order, I know it's the last session, but we've had some very interesting presentations from both the Joint Secretary and from FICCI and Mr. Jha. So would anyone like to ask a question?
Mr. Chairman, I have a simple question.
Mr. Sajdeva and myself have worked together in the Ministry of Coal, so I knew he would be provoked in asking the question.
Simple question about Bipul, Pathak and Ashis. See, small mine and large mine definitions. Is that Pathak? I know what non-coal, because I'm basically from coal sector is mentioned. Coal is more of a, when it was things are simpler, and of course to some extent memories also. And non-coal being a disengaged, disintegrated.
So how it's working? Can the people at the end?
Can you? See, what have you done a study? Let me put a simple question. That these small mines, small mines are normally given leasehold without any expression, without much of expression. You have visual expression. Then, in between the boundaries or in inter-boundary space, a lot of resources lost. Has any study been done by the Mines Ministry, or you propose some study? Because I carried out that Shah Commission. I was chairman of the committee set up Ministry of Mines 2 years back. We found that huge amount of resource is left out between so-called small mines.
Boundaries.
Yes, and these boundaries. This, we have to address this issue. Because what we are doing, this divine endowment, we are dividing into small holdings. And in my assessment, which I roughly from this Goa, especially, and this Odisha, also Karnataka, what we are covering on the mining side is less than what we are losing on the boundary side. So this,
Sir, we haven't done any studies on that, but it's a fact that if there is a boundary between two mines and both the miners agree to developing that, they can approach the DGMS and take a joint permission for mining that common boundary area. That's the present, that's allowed.
resource assessment, then government boundary policy.
I think, Mr. Sachdeva, you raised a relevant point, and at this stage, what we can say is that this is one issue which can definitely be addressed when you are going in for the review of the national mineral policy. Because, I mean, we can discuss ad nauseum on this issue. You have the Portuguese legacy. You have the Portuguese legacy with regard to the size of the mining leases of iron ore, and it's a very. But you have a point, and we take it forward. Any other questions?
One more question to him.
If you don't mind, Mr. Sachdeva, let's not have a.
On that bond thing,
Yeah. Let's have a. Let's. We will come back to you. Yeah, please.
I'm Shakti Prakash. I work as a governmental specialist. My question is to Mr. Sanjay Jha. What are the success rates of waste to energy programs as far as operation, maintenance, cost, etc. is concerned?
It's a very relevant question. I will just take it up. Basically, waste to energy in India, we don't have many plants actually. If you look at China, which has more than about 450 plants today for waste to energy, we have around 3 or 4 running, okay, not very successfully. Cause for this is very pertinent, because one is it's a big cause for the government. How do we get funding? In terms of, because their success rate is very low. One is that moisture content of the waste is very high in India. That's what research has been continuously harping on, and that's the reason why it is not succeeding the way it is in the West or China, even China. Whereas if you look at the tropical factors for China, India, in certain levels, there's certain similarities. If you look at even Singapore, very successful. If you go into a slightly more African countries, very successful in Nigerian platform, and then you go in like this. So the tropical factor, so moisture, I don't think so is a factor. Your question on how far, how far it can be succeed, or definitely it can succeed. There has to be a way of right technology. A lot of technologies are being experimented, like pyrolysis, which is high heating of waste and then converting into gaseous form, like CNG or even diesel form. You have gasification-based technology, which is actually you are doing a slight amount of high heating over 3000 degrees and then converting that into energy form. You have incineration, which is a burning of the waste. Getting the waste, burn it fully, convert that into gas. These 3 technologies are there, which companies have been trying to actually. I'm really thinking. I think in India, the type of moisture situation, incineration is okay. And even the government has allowed it. 2016, installation is allowed.
There was a question that side.
Just to address your point. You see, waste to energy is not a failed concept. It is just, as he mentioned, that what technology are you going to use? The choice is between whether your dumps, like dump in Devnar in Bombay, it keeps on igniting perpetually for the whole year. It ignites, with the fury also during these summer months. Your dump near Delhi, Balaswa, it also remains perpetually burning below and smoke coming out, and all other similar big dumps. The choice is whether you allow nature to burn it or do you want to incinerate it. When you incinerate, you control a lot of pollutants. The flue gases are also controlled. There are a number of technologies. I can tell you one plant in Shimla, 15 megawatt plant in Agra, recently 130 crore plant in Kerala, 1500 megawatt installed capacity for WTE in West Bengal through German technology. There is a Czech technology also which is coming into India. Number of them have done the work in European countries where temperatures are very low, moisture content is high. But for the last 100 years, they are managing Switzerland, for example. Switzerland also does it. Everybody does it. The only thing is that problem arises at what price you are going to purchase that power. It is hovering around 8 to 10 rupees these days. But the point we have to realize as a nation that it is not the power generation project. It is waste management. And the byproduct is electricity. Whatever price comes, you have to take care of it and then carry on with your management. It reduces your dumping capacity by 60 to 70%. So you require 60% less land for the remaining things, the ash and the other contents of the segregated waste.
Thank you so much.
Sir, yeah. My name is Dharmara.
Let's ask questions now because time is short, away from waste management. If you don't mind.
My name is Dharmara. I am CSR implementer. Sir, my discussion is with the people, but as in the ground, we see a lot of commitment from the companies to getting the environmental creation at the national level, and I have seen a lot of commitment at the public hearing with the community level. So, any plan or any system you have after the company do the activities in the ground level, do you have any plan, any indicator to check that that commitment has completed or not within a 2 year, 3 year, any frequency, or is it a one-time assurance or clearance you are giving? Second, what I have observed also, if you have given a clearance for the, you can say 100 megawatt of exploration or mining, but when you see actually there is double that or nearly more than that, how you check it? Because I have not seen any, these are two major real time experiences I have observed in my.
Before Bipul answers, there were two presentations which flagged one particular issue known as star rating. Are you aware of the intricacies of star rating? Because that question will be answered if you have a very clear knowledge of what is meant by star rating. Are you aware? So I think I preempted people because star rating covers and it gives weightages and scoring and rating to the mines. It covers various aspects of sustainable development. And there are a lot of aspects of sustainable development. Resource efficiency, energy efficiency, waste efficiency, people care, resettlement, rehabilitation. A lot of aspects to sustainable development, and it's all covered in that comprehensive document. In fact, when I went through it, I found it a bit too comprehensive.
This is about the sustainability part. The first part was, I think, CSR initiative. I don't think CSR initiatives which the companies take are monitored by the government or the state government. I am not aware of any mechanism. Probably you do it and then you display it in your filings with the, I think, Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
This is for conceptual clarity, because I can see this slight conceptual confusion. CSR is different from sustainable development. And kindly do not mix the two of them. Sustainable development is a part of the project management. CSR is an activity which is not necessarily a part of the project management.
What was the second one, second question?
The production capacity, how you measure the production, if you have granted.
Yes. I think you talked about illegal mining You see, we already have a system in place where we use the space technology for not fully understanding the illegal mining, but some illegal activity happening within the vicinity of existing mines. We have mapped a lot of them. It is called mining surveillance system. It is, in my opinion, in infancy. We have generated a number of reports, and many cases of illegal mining have been detected by the state governments. We are going to upgrade it, and then even the volumetric calculations will also be done by satellite industry. It is going to come up. We are in the process of speeding it up. Probably next year onwards, next financial year onwards, I guess, it will happen that when any mining, any activity which has a volumetric change, and the satellite imagery is going to detect it, and that will have a huge impact on at least bigger mines which are easily mappable, and pictures can be taken from existing satellites. So that will take care of those issues.
I have a habit of making slightly, controversial statements to provoke. This is illegal mining and irregular mining is a classic case of perception and reality. Mining is not as illegal and irregular as it is perceived to be. And it's a question of usage of technical terms. If suppose within a mining lease area, he produces more, what would you call it? Illegal, irregular, or regular? Within the mining lease which he has. You ask the question.
The answer
So
is
it's a very, what the point which I am saying is that these are things which are evolving. You can argue that from the viewpoint of the country, if he has used better technology to extract a mineral, it's in the interest of the country, as long as he is paying his royalty, as long as he is contributing to the district mineral fund, as long as he is abiding by all the regulations and compliances of environment, etc., etc., etc. And he has not overshot his mining lease boundaries. A point for consideration. I'm not saying that it is regular, but a point for consideration.
There is a Supreme Court judgment recent, 3rd of August, if I'm not wrong. Please read it, it's a long judgment. It has delved into all the areas of going outside mining lease, within mining lease, what kind of mining, carrying load, carrying capacity, infrastructure, all issues connected with mining in a reasonably well thought out manner. Once you read it, you will be able to have a better perspective of what he is saying, what the law as on date stands. Because I think in that judgment it says that any mining, even within the mining lease area, you want to permit it.
I said many things between the lines.
Yeah, so
because
that's as on date. But it will evolve as he said. Somebody can go to the Supreme Court also and explain maybe in a better manner that this is legal, this is illegal. It will evolve. Maybe a few years down the line another judgment comes and things change. You never know.
Any other question?
We'll just have, I don't know.
Because a lot of you have to go back to Noida, I myself have to go back to Gurgaon. Yeah, please.
So I have a question to you that being at this position and like you said that you're focusing on exploration. So wouldn't it be more efficient and also more effective if you had DGMS under the Ministry of Mines? I know
Can I answer that question?
yeah, I know because you have a unique experience of being in labor as well as.
It's again a conceptual issue. Do you know who looks after the rail accidents?
Is it not the Ministry of Railways?
It's not the Ministry of Railways. It is housed in the Ministry of Civil Aviation.
Oh.
It's, not what is known as the arm's length principle. There can be a conflict of interest. A very interesting question, and I'm giving you the policy, the conceptual part. It is conflict of interest, arm's length. If it is mines, labor. Railways, civil aviation. There is a debate going on this issue. You have asked a very, very relevant issue. There is a debate going on. But as it stands, that is the explanation. Would you like to add on?
Sir, pardon me, but I am a student and I am curious.
No, pardon, you all are much better than anyone else.
Sir, my question is also related to somewhat waste management. Sir, talked about China, comparison with China, and he talked about, sir, you talked about the landfills, the growing mountains of dump yard in Delhi as well as Mumbai. So my question is that why can't we replicate or somewhat follow to an extent the model of Sweden, who not only utilized all of its dump but export waste from other European nations to